Alright guys, the engine's all apart and I got a story to tell you. This is really interesting stuff here. So, took apart the engine the way anyone would expect to. Intake manifold had to come off first to pull the push rods out because the push rods go through the intake manifold on an FE apparently. After taking the heads off the engine block, we noticed that the exhaust manifold side was different on each head. So we had two different exhaust manifolds, and that isn't that unusual, but obviously these are different exhaust manifolds. This one looks a whole lot better, like it actually worked. This one looks like a log. I really didn't think too much of it because that just seemed okay. But I also noticed, after a little bit of looking at it, that the better looking exhaust manifold had 16 bolt holes, and the other one only had 14 bolt holes. So it was clear to me that at that point, the heads had to be different. So on a V8, there's two banks of cylinders, and there's a head that slaps on each side of each bank. And that controls the valves, the air going in and out of the cylinders. So you need heads for an engine to run. And it turns out that this engine had a Cobra Jet head on the driver's side and a regular 390 GT head on the other side. According to what I could find, the Cobra Jet head makes about 15 more horsepower, towards the top end a little bit more. This engine, whether it came from the factory or how it ended up like that, was running 15 horsepower higher on one side. This engine has been taken apart because the cylinders have been bored 30 over. My grandpa said that he can't remember any time where it's been rebuilt or anything, but it obviously has. This engine block has, whether or not it belonged to the Trino, whether or not it came out of the factory like that, we don't know. The VIN number says it came with a 390. This is a 390 bored 30 over. The pistons had it etched 30 on it. So we have a block that's 30 over, we have two different heads, and we don't really know where to go. Me and my dad, we tried to research stuff, we were just kind of lost. We didn't know exactly what to do. So after a little bit of research, I discovered that my Cobra Jet head is worth about $1,000, which is really awesome. And I really hope I can sell it for $1,000. As of this point, it's being cleaned and being magged. Make sure there's no cracks in it. But I really hope I can sell it for $1,000, and that way I can put the money towards the car, towards the engine, to make it maybe a little bit better. Also, we ran into the problem where there's no casting number on the block. There's nowhere, no casting number at all. It says 352 on the back, but that's what all of the FEs say. It's based off 352 blocks, so that doesn't really tell us anything. So we also ran into the problem that the cylinders have a lot of wear on them. They have barely any cross-hatching left, which means it's got quite a few miles on it. The odometer reads 50,000, and the brake pedal and the gas pedal are like mint. So I really think it is a 50,000 mile car. It's really hard to say though. So what are the solutions to this problem? Well, so first we're going to hone the cylinders, and to restore the crosshatch, we're going to clean the lifters and check them over. They all are flat. I've already put them on a straight edge. They're all not domed or warped or anything. They're all straight and good. So we're going to try and reuse all the lifters. Push rods are all not bent. They're all straight. We're going to test the valve springs for their spring rate and make sure it's up to spec. As you can see, we measured a lot of stuff up here and did some math on the actual lift of the camshaft. And the camshaft is also good. It's like exactly textbook of what Ford said it should be. It's not a very aggressive cam, but apparently it was enough to make 330 horsepower according to Ford. So to fix our head problem, it was really lucky that my grandpa had another 390 up at the farm. That engine block had a number, and it's a 66 block with 68 heads, which is exactly what I needed. Those heads are perfect, and it'll fit right on this engine. I got one cleaned up and ready to go and get magged as well. So hopefully that head comes back good, and other heads come back good, and we'll put it all together, and it'll all work. So that is the story of this engine so far. Like I said, the camshaft, the crankshaft, they're all up to spec. They all look good. So that is where I'm at right now with this engine. We do have a plan where we're going forward with this, and that's the most important part. And I waited to make this video. This has been over like a couple weeks now that we tried to figure all this stuff out. But after I've got to the bottom of this story, I wanted to make sure I recorded all of it to tell you guys this whole story, because I think one Cobra Jet head and one GT head on an engine is really weird and really strange, and I just couldn't see an engine builder putting two different heads on it after they've already been taken apart. So the only real explanation I have is that it came from the factory, two different heads. I really can't tell you for sure. Head gaskets obviously are probably not original because it's been rebuilt and been bored 30 over once before. The main bearings, crankshaft bearings, all of that looks awesome, and that probably means that it's been rebuilt. The block has quite a few signs of wear everywhere, really, and that I really don't know what to say about that. It's kind of weird. So yeah, definitely a lot of weird parts in this engine. Like I said, I don't know if I told you this already, but I have a Mustang intake manifold, codes for Mustang. So unless it was just used for all S code 390s and 69, I don't think it was, because that seems to be a Mustang code. Really weird stuff. I hope you guys found this story interesting. If you have any thoughts about this entire thing at all with the heads, and if any one of you know if the heads came from the factory like that, I really appreciate your comment down below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time on It'll Run. Hopefully this engine will run.